हरि ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां सद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। In the last class, we concluded the introduction to Brahma Sutras by Adi Shankaracharya through his Adhyasa Bhashyam. And we also mentioned what are the requirements for a sutra. Just to refresh, sutram or an aphorism should fulfill the following 6 conditions as defined by a beautiful shloka. Alpaksharam asandigdham saravat vishwatomukam asthobham anavadyancha sutram sutravido viduhu. Any sutram or aphorism should fulfill the following conditions. Namely, alpakshara should be concise, should not be too long, it should be very easy to remember. And then asandigdham, it should be clear, there should be no ambiguity at all, it should be unambiguous. And then saravat, it should deal with the essentials alone, it should be pregnant with meaning. Vishwatomukam should have many facets, more topics if possible. Always try to accommodate as much information as possible within a small sutra. So try to save even one letter. If they can save one letter, the Sutrakara feels as if he is blessed with a son. Putrotsavam manyante. So happy, as though he got a child. So much for brevity. Therefore, Vishwatomukam and then Asthobham. Stobham means glorification. Glorification, another meaning is in certain utterances. It is used, for example, in Samaveda and all, they use certain sounds like ha, woo, and all, but they all should be avoided as much as possible. Then Anavadyancha, it should be defect-free. Avadya means doshaha, Anavadya means nirdoshaha. Should be nirdoshaha. And dosha also we said is of 2 types. One is Shabda dosha, that means there should be no grammatical dosha in the construction. And second one is Artha dosha, there should be no logical mistake in its meaning. Now, before I start the discussion on the first sutra, someone sent an email to me with a request. I'll just read the contents. Before starting with the Sutrani, would you please give an introduction to Shad Tatparya Lingani and how the sutras conform to them? So far, we have seen the Shad Tatparya Lingani earlier, but still I will refresh. Shad Tatparya Lingani, they are the 6 clues or which talk about the purport, the proof, the mark. Lingas are the marks, the sign of Brahma Sutras as the text. As we mentioned in the introduction, Brahma Sutra is a teaching extracted from Vedantic scriptures, the Vedic scriptures. Therefore, even though the teaching has come from Vyasacharya, it is not a Paurusheya teaching, it is Apaurusheya Darshanam being based on Apaurusheya Vedanta Pramana. This we already mentioned during the introduction. So Vyasacharya's teaching is like a thread to teach the essential teachings of Vedanta using a method of analysis called Mimamsa. So Vedanta Mimamsa or Uttara Mimamsa, one gets the essential teaching through that. And that is why it is called Uttara Mimamsa Sutrani. And applying the principle of Upakramadi Shadlinga Vichara, one has to arrive at the central teaching of Vedanta because the central teaching is not explicit in the Vedas. And what is the proof? The fact that there are so many different commentaries, each commentator putting forth one's own point of view, that itself indicates that. There are Dvaidavakyas, Dvasuparna, Sayuja, Sakhaya. In Mundaka Upanishad, we have seen this. And then there are Visishta Dvaidavakyas, Yo Vijnane Tishtan, Vijnanad Antaraha, Antaryami Brahmanam. We already saw in Brihadaranyaka. They call, actually in Vaishnava Sampradaya, they call it as Ghataka Shruti. Of course, there are Advaita Vakyas also. Many of them we know. Tattvamasi, Shantam, Shivam, Advaitam, Chaturtam Manyante, Sa Atma, Sa Vigneyaha. In Mandukya, we saw this famous statement. And each scholar interprets in their own manner. There are Advaita, Visishtadvaita, and Dvaita Shrutis. Jiva Ishvara Beda, Jiva Ishvara Abeda, all of them are given in the Vedas. There can be, and there are many confusions regarding the central teaching, and therefore we need Mimamsa, an analysis. And this method of study to arrive at the central teaching is called Samanvaya. It is a technical word that means consistency, that is focus. So we want to find the consistent teachings of Vedanta. We call it Tatparya Nirnayaha, which is equal to Samanvaya, which is also the same as Mimamsa. All are almost synonymous. It helps us to arrive at the central teaching of Vedanta. So this is done through all the 4 padas of the first chapter of Brahma Sutra, which has, if you remember, 39 adhikaranas and 134 sutras, 4 padas. And this process of arriving at central teaching can be called Shravanam, not in its dictionary meaning of hearing. Here it is a technical word in Vedanta. It is active participation in the analysis of Vedanta by the student with the guidance of a teacher, a guru. And through this Mimamsa, we come to know Vedanta is an independent pramanam, which reveals the unique subject matter called Brahman. Just as Veda Purvabhaga reveals the subject called Dharma, so the purport, the Tatparya, is to arrive at the central theme or central teaching of the Upanishads using this method of Samanvaya or Mimamsa or Upakramadi Shadlingas. This Shadlingani Tatparya Nirnaya we have seen already in some detail during our Chandogya discussion, 6th chapter of the Vedanta model of Tattvamasi Prakaranam. There's a shloka, we said that also, Upakramopasamharo, Abhyaso Purvata Phalam, Arthavadopapattischam, Lingam, Tatparya Nirnaye. Let me first enumerate all these 6 lingas. Upakrama, Upasamharo, identity, consistency in the beginning and the end, in the introduction and the conclusion. There should be consistency. And then Abhyasa, the ideas, important idea should be repeated to convey the importance of a certain idea. And Apurvata, new topic, novelty should be there, not known earlier. It should bring new teaching. And then Phalam, the benefit, Prayojanam. And Arthavada is Stuti, Stotra, glorification. And then Upapatti is logic or reasoning. So all these 6 factors, they are called 6 lingas. They are Tatparya Nirnayaha. So as we saw in the Chandogya discussion, we will see all these in our discussions in some of the sutras as we go along. Perhaps in the first pada itself, in the 4th sutra called Tattu Samanvayat, we are going to see that sutra in this pada itself and other sutras also. So with this brief outline, we will now enter into the Brahma Sutra text proper. Sutra 1, Pada 1, Adhyaya 1. This is called Jignasadhikarana, first topic. And the sutra is Athataha Brahma Jignasa. Athataha Brahma Jignasa. Thereafter, therefore, the desire to know the Brahman. That is all the translation. And we pointed out in the introduction that Brahma Sutra has got 4 chapters known as Adhyayas. And each chapter has got 4 sections or padas. And each section has got varying number of topics known as Adhikaranams. And each Adhikaranam has got varying number of sutras. There could be 1 sutra, there could be many sutras. And this one is called Athato Brahma Jigyasa, is the first sutra of the first adhikaranam, of the first pada, of the first chapter of Brahma Sutra, known as Samanvaya Adhyayaha. Consistency. Samanvaya is consistency. That's the name of the chapter itself. Now we will discuss the significance of this title later. The first pada is called Spashta Brahma Linga Vakya Samanvaya Padaha. Big name. Spashta Brahma Linga Vakya Samanvaya Padaha. Here also the significance of the title we will see later. And each adhikarana, each topic is also given a name. And the name of the topic is based on the first sutra. Here the first sutra is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Therefore, the first topic is called Jignasadhikaranam. Jignasadhikaranam. And here the first topic has got only one sutra, as I mentioned. We will see how we propose to proceed the discussion. Because Brahma Sutra discussion is, we have to first understand how the discussion itself is going to proceed. First, we will see the general analysis of the sutra. Any sutra we take, first we will see a general analysis. This is called Samanya Vicharaha. Samanya Vicharaha. And then we will go with the word analysis. Each word, Shabda Vicharaha. And then we will see a conclusion, Upasamhara, where any general remarks, corollaries, technical points, they all will be seen at that time. So this will be the method of our approach of every sutra in our study. And the first sutra is Introduction to Vedanta Shastram or Brahma Vidya Shastram. We can call it like a 4-word or introduction. In Sanskrit, Upodghataha or Anubandhaha, it is called. This introduction is required for every Shastra. And the peculiarity of the introduction is one cannot treat the introduction as outside the main Shastram or also inside the main Shastra. It is a connecting link, like a doorstep between outside and inside. Introduction is door to enter the Shastram, and it is neither inside nor outside the Shastra. That is why it is called Anubandhaha, or a pre-appendix, we can call. It is integral part of the Shastra, but it is not within Shastra, like the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Gita Shastram actually begins only in the 11th shloka of the second chapter, Asochan and Asochatvam only. So the first chapter is neither inside or outside the main teaching of Bhagavad Gita. So it is called Anubandhaha, Anubadhyate, Shastrena, iti Anubandhaha. Then the question is, where the Shastram begin? It begins from the second sutra only of Brahma Sutras. So the first sutra is an introductory or Upodghata Sutra. Then what is the intent of this introduction? In the tradition, we say an introduction should present 4 factors known as Anubandha Chatushtaya. Chatushtaya means 4. So the first sutra presents Anubandha Chatushtayam, and it is called Anubandha Chatushtaya Sutra. And what are the 4 factors introduced here? We have seen all this earlier also, but for continuity, I am just only refreshing. Anubandha Chatushtayam, the 4 factors are: number 1, Adhikari, a competent student. Number 2 is Vishayaha, the subject matter. Number 3 is Prayojana, the benefit of study. And number 4, Sambandhaha, the relationship. So with respect to Brahma Vidya, the Adhikari is a person who is Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannaha, the 4-fold qualifications. I'm not going to enumerate all of them here. I'm going to just briefly mention. Please refer to Tattvabodha. In fact, Tattvabodha is based on Brahma Sutra only. The 4-fold qualifications are: number 1, Viveka. Viveka is discrimination. That is with respect to self-knowledge. The correction of self-error is important, and all other knowledge only improve our lower image through dharma, artha, kama pursuits. So remove lower image for moksha pursuit. Other methods will not work, only self-knowledge, jnanam. So it is called Vivekaha, the capacity to discriminate between Shreyas. Shreyas is the spiritual path, and Preyas, the material path, is Viveka, as we saw in Kathopanishad, these two terms. And the second factor is Vairagyam, or dispassion, considering all other pursuits to be secondary, subservient to the main pursuit. That is dispassion. Earning money, family life, education, of aparavidya, all that, they are all incidental. Only means and not the end. So seeing the means as the end is passion. Seeing the means as means is dispassion. If I see means as not means, it is foolishness. So three things. So if I see money as an end, is passion. If I see money as a means, it is dispassion. If I don't see money as means, it is foolish. So this is dispassion, Vairagya. And third is a group of 6 virtues called Shatka Sampatti, 6-fold inner disciplines. What are those? Shamaha, mind control; Damaha, sense control; Uparamaha, reduction of all extroverted attitudes; and then Titiksha, forbearance, the ability to ignore discomforts. Life is full of them. Choose certain discomfort, but should correct every pinprick. This is Titiksha. And then Shraddha. Shraddha is faith in the Guru, the scriptures, and God. God comes under Guru only. And next one is Samadhanam, is concentration, commitment to achieve the goal. And then the fourth factor is Mumukshutvam. Mumukshutvam is the Tivra Ichcha, the desire, the craving for moksha or liberation. Therefore, the adhikari should have these 4-fold qualifications, subject matter. The next one is a subject matter called Vishayaha. Vishayaha, subject of Vedanta Shastram or Brahma Sutra, is Brahman. This is called Brahma Vidya. Brahman means what? Not a new substance revealed by Vedanta or a new status of the listener. It talks about my own higher status, para prakriti. All these terms should be familiar to us. Apara prakriti, para prakriti, we have seen it many times earlier in all of Upanishad Gita lectures. By Brahman, we mean as Atmanaha, Brahmatvam is the subject matter. This alone is presented as Atma Brahma Aikyam. And the third one is Prayojana or benefit. Benefit of study of Vedanta Shastra is what? When I know the Brahman status of mind, the benefit is I will negate my Brahman, non-Brahman status, which is my misconception. For example, if I know the rope, the benefit of knowing the ropeness is what? Displacement of snakeness misconception. Similarly, knowledge of Brahmatvam status of mind will displace Jivatvam status of mind or Jivatva misconception. Brahmatva jnanena abrahma nivrittihi, that is the prayojana. So Brahmatva jnanena Jivatma nivrittihi prayojanam, and Jivatma means samsara. So therefore Brahmatva jnanena samsara nivrittihi is the phala. So the series is what? Brahmatva jnanena abrahmatva nivrittihi. That means Jivatva nivrittihi. That means samsara nivrittihi. Nivrittihi means negation, sublation, elimination, displacement, whatever you want to call. So samsara nivritti alone is otherwise called moksha or freedom. Therefore, prayojanam is moksha. It is freedom from the sense of limitation, inadequacy, smallness, wants, all those. And the fourth factor is sambandha. Sambandha means the relationship. Between what and what? We can take any pair. Relationship is between Brahma Sutra textbook perhaps and its contents. So Grantha Vishayayoho, Shastra Vishayayoho Sambandha Kaha. We call it Pratipadya Pratipadaka Sambandha. Another big name, technical language. Pratipadya Pratipadaka Sambandha. Brahman and Brahma Sutram or Brahman and Upanishads have got Pratipadya Pratipadaka Sambandha. The significance of this briefly is what? There is a rule. a topic can be considered as a subject matter of a book only if the topic is discussed as the central theme of the book and not casually talked off. For example, if you take Bhagavad Gita, there is discussion on diet discipline, food discipline, the rule of eating. Yuktaha araviharasya, yukta cheshtasya karmasu, yukta swapnavabodhasya, yogo bhavati dukkhaha. Suppose someone asks the question, what is the subject matter of Bhagavad Gita? We should not say it is diet. The reason is it is not discussed as central theme of Bhagavad Gita. That is, diet and Gita do not have the pratipadyam, padakam, sambandha. But the central theme of Bhagavad Gita is Atma Vidya. And therefore, Gita and Atma Vidya have pratipadakam, pratipadya, sambandha. And if you translate into English, pratipadya means revealed. Pratipadaka means revealer. So this revealed, revealer relationship. So Brahma Sutram and the Brahman have got revealer, revealed relationship. This is Anubandha Chatushtayam of Vedanta Shastra. So when we look at the shloka, each sutra, we should have all these concepts in mind. We are still in general analysis only. We have not come to word analysis of the sutra yet. These are all in the general analysis. So the Anubandha Chatushtayam is introduction, and the content of that is the first sutra. But it is not directly revealed by the sutra itself. Atato Brahma Jignasa does not directly reveal this. Therefore, we say Anubandha Chatushtayam is not the direct meaning of the first sutra. It is implied meaning of the first sutra. In Sanskrit, we call it Artika Arthaha, indirect or implied meaning. Therefore, if one asks, what is the implied meaning of the first sutra? We should say, Vedanta Shastram has Anubandha Chatushtayam is the implied meaning. Vedanta Shastram has Anubandha Chatushtayam. Now the question is, if Anubandha Chatushtayam is indirect meaning, what is the direct meaning of the sutra? It is Shrautharthaha, direct meaning, which is thereafter. Therefore, Brahman inquiry should be done. That is the meaning of this sutra. Thereafter, athataha, ataha, Brahma Jignasa. Thereafter, therefore, Brahman inquiry should be done. This is the meaning of Athato Brahma Jignasa. Incidentally, a point we have to notice, Vyasacharya is not propounding a new philosophy unlike other philosophies like Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya and all that. This also we saw in the introduction. Vyasacharya's aim is what? To extract the philosophy which is contained in the Upanishads. Atmajnanam is taken out of the Upanishad. When he writes a sutra, he has in mind a particular portion of Upanishad, particular statement of an Upanishad. Therefore, to understand the right meaning of the sutra, we should know Upanishadic portion, which he has kept in mind while writing the sutra. That is the reason we also came to Brahma Sutra after completing 10 Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita. It is very much required because sutra is very cryptic, which can lead to a lot of vagueness also. Therefore, the first job that we should do is, we should try to find out which Upanishadic statement Vyasacharya had in mind, and that statement is called Vishaya Vakyam. If Vyasacharya is in front of us, we can go and ask him. But in the absence of the author, we have to find out. Therefore, every sutram should have Vishaya Vakyam, that is corresponding Upanishadic statement. So, Vyasacharya does not say what is the Vishaya Vakyam for any of his sutras. Therefore, we don't understand head and tail of any sutra and what he wants to discuss. That is why we take the help of commentators. Without the Bhashyas, we will not know the Vishaya Vakyam of any sutra at all. So here we have Adi Shankaracharya's Bhashyam, who gives all the details, like all other Acharyas also later. So Adi Shankaracharya says he came to know from his teacher, Govinda Bhagavad Pada, and so on. So he came from his teacher and all that. So the Vishaya Vakyam for the first sutra is from Taittiriya Upanishad in the 3rd chapter, first, that is Bhrigu, the first canto. Bhrigurvaiva runihi varunam pitaramupasasara adhihi bhagavo brahmeti tasma etat provacha annam pranam chakshushrotram manovachamiti tagumho vacha yato va imani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti yat prayante vishamvishanti tad vijigyasasva tad brahmeti satapotapyata satapastaptva. So one sentence we have to note here is what? Tad vijigyasasva. And in Brahma Sutra, what do we have in the first sutra? Atato Brahma Jigyasa. So Sutra also has Jigyasasva, and the Veda also has Jigyasa. Tad Vijigyasasva. Sutra also has Jigyasa. So Bhrigu is told by his guru Varuna in Bhrigu, you conduct Brahman inquiry for fulfillment in life if you want security. These are the basic problems of life. Peace of mind is always in pieces. Sense of insecurity. So if these fundamental problems have to go, tad vijigyasasva, it is a statement of commandment. It is not an ordinary statement. It is a statement in imperative mode. Vijigyasasva, should know. There is no alternative. Vidhi Vakyam it is. It's a commandment. You gain moksha only through jnanam. You cannot gain moksha through any other means. Nama Sankirtana, bhajans, they are all nice. Whenever it is said all these can give moksha, it is only a glorified exaggeration. And why do we say so? Because the Upanishad makes it very clear, for moksha, jnanam is the only way. Jnana deva kaivalya. Tad vijigyasasva. And what is said is, for all time, and it is for all yugas also, jnana deva kaivalyam. Only through self-knowledge one can gain moksha. So Upanishad says, no Brahman. This is the main Vishaya Vakya. And the second one also, it occurs in Chandogya. We saw that also in the 8th chapter. Ya Atma, Apahata Papma, Vijaro Vimrutyuhom, Vishokhom, Vijigatsaha, Apipasaha, Satyakamaham, Satyasankalpaham, Sonveshtavyaha, Sa Vijigyasitavyaha, Vijigyasitavyaha, Sa Sarvamsha Lokana Apnoti, Sarvamsha Kamana Apnoti. These are the shlokas in Chandogya. Here also, the whole mantra is not relevant. Sa Vijigyasitavyaha is only important. Here, tavyaha is command. The suffix tavyaha is command. We saw that at that time. You have to know, and there is no shortcut. This is the second quotation quoted by the commentator, Acharya. So only difference from the first Taittiriya Upanishad quote is what? Tad, in Tad Vijigyasasva was given in Bhrigu Taittiriya Upanishad. That is in neutral gender. And here it is Sa Vigyasitavyaha. Sa is in masculine gender. Tat, where Tat is Brahman, here Saha is Paramatma. Both are same. So the third Shruti Vakyam is in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 2nd chapter, where Yajnavalkya gives a long mantra. If you remember, if I just indicate, then you will understand what mantra I am talking about. In the famous Maitreyi Brahmana, all those who attended Brihadaranyaka lectures, in the Maitreyi Brahmanam, Yajnavalkya gives a big list. Nobody loves anybody, but everybody loves self alone. Nobody loves anybody, but everybody loves self alone, and self alone is object of love. Therefore, self alone is Ananda Swarupaha. That's what he said. We will not say the whole mantra here, it can be very long, but if I say the first line, then you will remember. Those who attended those lectures will remember. Nava are patyuho kamaya pati priyo bhavati atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. He goes on telling putra, wife, husband, everything, they all become priyam only atmanastu kamaya. Whatever is the object of love is in the nature of Ananda. Upanishad says Atma alone is loved by everyone. How do we know? When crucial things come, crucial situations come, we are ready to drop one by one everything like a sinking ship. A person even gives up children, disown children. Husband disowns wife, wife disowns husband. Initially, all are like, for my sake. And afterwards, I drop all of them like hot potatoes. When situations come like that, warrant like that. Self alone is loved by all. Then Yagyavalkya says to Maitreyi, Atmava are shrotavyaha mantavyaha nididhyasitavyaha. And therefore, Atma inquiry should be done. So in the entire Upanishadic portion, Brahman inquiry is emphasized. In keeping with those Upanishadic statements, Vyasacharya condenses all and says, Atato Brahma Jignasa. So this sutra contains all those information. To show it is compulsory, we supply the verb to the sutra, which is not here in the sutra, by adding a word kartavya. So atato brahma jignasa kartavya. Thereafterwards, therefore, Brahman inquiry should be done to gain liberation. This is direct meaning. Now, one cannot do Brahman inquiry independently, as Brahman is not available as object for anyone to study. These are all fundamental concepts, we should know all of them. One mantra says, Sarvam Brahmopanishadam. There is a mantra which says Sarvam Brahmopanishadam. Brahman is given the title, Upanishadam, to indicate Brahman can be inquired through Vedanta alone, through the Upanishads. It is Upanishadam. Therefore, we replace it with Vedantic inquiry. Therefore, Brahma Jignasa means Vedanta Shastra Vicharaha, that is Atato Vedanta Shastra Vicharaha Kartavyaha. To gain Brahma Jnanam, the revised meaning now should be thereafter Ataha, Ataha again. Therefore, Vedantic inquiry should be done for Brahma Jnanam. This is the revised direct meaning of the first sutra. Now, we need to make some more revision to this, because how we are deriving the meaning, I hope you are seeing the evolution. We need to make some more revision to this also, because Brahma Sutra is what? Is Nyaya Prasthanam. Smriti Prasthanam, we already saw in that thing. So in the beginning, I told you, Bhagavad Gita is Smriti Prasthanam. And Shruti Prasthanam is Upanishads. And Brahma Sutra, we said it is Nyaya Prasthanam. Therefore, every sutra presents a logical statement. Should be a Nyaya Vakyam or Anumana Vakyam. I mentioned all this in the introduction also. So the question is, what is the Anumana Vakyam for this sutra? If you remember the 4 factors of Anumana Vakya, if you remember, Pakshaha, Sadhyam, Hetuhu, and Drishtanta. And we gave also the example, Parvataha, Vanniman, Dhumavatvat, Yata, Mahanasaha. We went through this discussion at that time. Now, first sutra must be logically presented. What is that? Vedanta Shastram is Pakshaha. That's the locus. Then Arambaniyam, that should be the Sadhyam, inquired into. Arambaniyam should be inquired into. That is a Sadhyam. And Anubandha Chatushtayavatvate, that is the Hetuhu, because it has got Anubandha Chatushtayam, 4-fold factors. Anubandha Chatushtayavatvate, because it has got a benefit. And what is the Drishtanta? Dharma Shastravate. Vedanta Shastram, Arambaniyam, Anubandha Chatushtayavatvate, Dharma Shastravate. So it satisfies all these 4 factors. And for this Anumana Vakyam, there should be a vyapti, a generalization. All this, unless you are current with the information, but fundamental information, it will be difficult for it to follow. So, Anumana Vakyam, there should be a vyapti. We already described earlier, vyapti, vyapakam and all that. Vyapti is a generalization. In the example that we saw, wherever there is smoke, there is fire. So, statement of coexistence is the vyapti, fire and smoke. Statement of coexistence. And for this Anumana, what is this vyapti here? Yatra yatra Anubandha Chatushtaya, whichever Shastram has got Anubandha Chatushtayam, tatra tatra Arambaniyatvam. all those shastras are worth studying because we get prayojanam of moksha by that. This is the revised presentation of the direct meaning of the first sutra. Yatra yatra anubandha chatushtayam tatra tatra arambaniyatvam. All those shastras are worth studying. That is the prayojana, moksha. So this is the revised direct meaning. So with this, we conclude the first general analysis. Now, as I told you, the method of our analysis is going to be general analysis first, then word analysis, and then conclusion. So with this, we see the general analysis so far. And now we will see the implied meaning. So we got here, what are the things we got? We saw the implied meaning and the direct meaning both. Implied meaning is what? Vedanta Shastram has Anubandha Chatushtayam is implied meaning. And the direct meaning is Vedanta Shastra should be studied. That is the direct meaning. So Vedanta Shastra should be studied is direct meaning. It has got Anubandha Chatushtayam in direct meaning. Hereafter, we will do the word analysis of the sutra. And there are three words in the sutra: Athaha, Ataha, and Brahma Jignasa. Brahma Jignasa is a compound word consisting of Brahma and Jignasa. And we will see the significance and the corollary also now. While talking about Sutra Bhashyam, we said that the commentary should maintain the word order as stated in the sutra. Acharya does that in the Bhashyam. Shankaracharya does that in the Bhashyam. So, Sutrartho Varnyate Yatra Vakyehi Sutranusaribihi Swapadani Vyachashtem Bhashyam Bhashyavido Viduhu. We saw this as a Bhashya Lakshana. This shloka we saw at that time. The first word is Athaha. In this Athato Brahma Jignasa, Athaha is the first word. So Shankaracharya points out that the expression Ataha has twofold functions. First Atha, first meaning as a sound, Shabda Rupena, as a Shabda. And the second meaning as a Pada Rupena. For example, we are listening to a news from radio or something. First thing is what? We hear the news in the form of a series of sound known by Pratyaksha Pramanam, by hearing. Through the Shrotra Indriya Pramanam, the sound comes into our mind. The sound heard is a Prameyam known through Shrotra Indriyam, which is the Pramana. The Indriyam is Pramana and the sound heard is Prameya. So Prameya means an object of any Pramanam is Prameya. The sound function as a Prameyam for whoever has got healthy ears. Otherwise you would have a hearing aid. Hearing aid will become the Indriya. Suppose if one is literate, who knows the language also, then the very sound which has entered the mind as Prameyam begins to function as Shabda Pramana. Not for all people, only for the literate, one who knows the language. However much I hear Chinese words, they are still only sounds. I cannot make it and tail out of that because I don't have knowledge in Chinese. So those who do not know the language, this sound is not a pramana. Every word has got two statuses: Prameyam status as you listen, and as Pramanam status if you know the particular language. Therefore, Prameya Rupa Shabdaha and Pramana Rupa Padam, and Shankaracharya says, when the teacher utters the word Atha, this word Atha has twofold status. Whoever is not deaf, he hears the sound Atha, and so Atha functions as Shabda Rupena, Prameya Rupena for all the people. If one is trained in language, the Shastram also, the word Atha function as Shabda Pramanam, called Padam. And Acharya says it has got two functions. One is Shabda and the other is Padam. And what are the two functions? Acharya says, Shabda Rupena Mangala Janakam. As a sound, Mangala Janakam, the very sound Atha, as mere vibration, sound vibration, Shabda Rupena, Atakaraha. Atakaraha means the sound, Mangala Janakam Bhavati. It produces auspiciousness. That is why in the beginning we said Om Atha, Om Atha, Om Atha. We said it. And that also when we read also Bhagavad Gita, every chapter, Om Atha Pratamodhyayaha, Mangala Janakam Bhavati. It produces auspiciousness. And when it functions as a padam or language, it gives a particular meaning. So pada rupena artha bodhakancha bhavati. In other words, the two functions are prameya rupena mangala janakam, as sound it gives auspiciousness, and pramana rupena artha bodhakam. If you know that as a pramanam, you will be able to get the artha also. It tells you the artha. So Vyasacharya uses the word atha with these twofold functions because he feels this is the first sutra. It has to begin with Mangalam, auspiciousness. Thus the tradition of Mangala Shloka, when any sacred book is written, normally for anything they write a Mangala Shloka. So for example, Vigna Nivaranartham. I am going to now write this big work, whatever it is. So I don't want any vignam. I don't want any obstacles. And also Ishvara Prasada Siddhartham. I pray to God so that I will be able to complete this text. And for Ishvara Prasada and Vigna Nivarana, they write a prayer, Dhyana Shloka, or they write a Mangala Shloka. Also, he write here, Vyasacharya, he doesn't have the opportunity because he is writing in sutra format. And so he has no opportunity to write a Mangala Shloka, big Shloka. Everything should be a couple of words because he has to reduce the size of the text as much as possible because it is Sutra. In Sutra, it is a Sutra Grantha, Brahma Sutra. So even if one letter is saved, as I said earlier, it is very great. As we said, he has consent. So sound Atha is auspiciousness. As we saw earlier in the last Dhyana Shloka, Om Atha, Om Atha, as Mangala Shabdas, Omkaraschada Shabdascham, Dva Vedaum, Brahmana Puram, Kantam Bitvam, Viniriyatau, Tasman, Mangalika Ubhav. It is Mangalam because Brahmaji started creation uttering these two words, Om and Atha. As I told you in Bhagavad Gita also, every chapter we start like this. So the first function is Mangalam, auspiciousness. And Panini, the grammarian, he also does similarly. His first Vyakarana Sutram is what? Buddhiradaicha. Vriddhihi. Vriddhiradaicha is the first sutra. Vriddhihi. Growth, prosperity. So therefore it is auspicious. Auspicious word. Vriddhi, it has in twofold function there. As Shabda it is Mangalam, Vriddhi. As word also has technical meaning. Here also Atha Shabda Rupena Mangala Janakam Bhavati. And what is the second meaning of Atha? As a Padam, according to Amarakosha, it has many possible meanings. Mangala, Aramba, Adhikara, Prayojana, so many meanings. And Shankaracharya analyzes them and arrives at one particular meaning here. And that is Anantaram, thereafter or immediately after. Why he takes this meaning? The question will be, when you say thereafter, whereafter? Vyasacharya by implication can convey the prerequisite of qualification. Niyama apekshita yogyata. Qualification that must precede the study. It is like, for example, if you want to study chemistry, physics, whatever, there is a 101. And then there are other requirements. So the qualifications must precede the study, prerequisites. Because any study should be after preparation only. Yogyata siddhihi. Anantaram Brahma Jignasa. So this is the case with Aparavidya also. All these Laukika educations. We have qualifying round for entry of any study or any competition. There are qualifying rounds. And what is the invariable qualification for the study of Vedanta? Shankaracharya says, Sadhana Chatushtayam. This is not directly mentioned by Vyasacharya. It is indirectly implied. So thus, Vyasacharya says two words, Sadhana Chatushtayam. Because he implied that meaning, so he saved two words. Therefore, using the method of implication, Vyasacharya benefits by reducing the size of the sutra. Therefore, Atha is equal to Sadhana Chatushtaya Anantara. of this Anantaram is directly mentioned and the Sadhana Chatushtayam is indirectly mentioned. Therefore, the final meaning of Atha is what? After acquiring the fourfold qualifications. Then the next question is, how do you know Sadhana Chatushtayam is the qualification? Fundamental question itself. How do you know? If one does not know what is Sadhana Chatushtayam, then what we should do here? Go back to Tattva Bodha. We have said it in the introduction. Viveka, Vairagya, Shatka Sampatti, Mumukshutva. Remember these four. So, how Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti is the qualification? For that, we have got two pramanams. One is Yukti Pramanam, that is logic. Yukti is logic. It is called Anvaya Vyatireka logic. This term also is very familiar to us. Anvaya Vyatireka logic. The logic of co-presence and co-absence. Yat sattve, yat sattvam, yad abhave, yad abhavaha, tat tasya karana. When you add sugar, for example, milk is sweet. And if you don't add, it is not sweet. Therefore, sugar is the cause of sweetness. So when sugar is there, sweetness is there. Similarly, from observation, we find whoever has got sadhana chatushtaya sampatti derives the benefit of Vedantic study, namely moksha. Like Nachiketas or the Kenopanishad students. They all, what did they do? The Kenopanishad, all of them were very qualified students. And at the end of the study, they told the teacher, he called him like Pitha, you are like my father. Naha manyesu vedeti, nona vedeti vedacham, yonas tadveda tadveda, nona vedeti vedacham. Danyoham kritakrityoham. That is what they said, which indicates that a qualified student, sadhana chatushtaya sampannaha, gets the benefit, and the student with no qualification will not get any benefit from the study of Brahma Sutra. So Shankaracharya puts it nicely in Viveka Chudamani. Saral, we have studied earlier. That's why it is very easy for us to relate to them. Sadhana angyatra chatvari kachitani manishibihi yeshu satveva sannishta yadhabhavena siddhyati. Wise people say 4 qualifications are required. What are those? Sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. Only if the qualifications are there, one becomes a muktaha. If not, na siddhyati. He doesn't gain moksha. Therefore, if we apply this Anvaya Vyatireka logic, Yeshu Satveshu Sannishta, in this shloka which we just read, the portion Yeshu Satveshu Sannishta is Anvayaha, and Yad Abhave Na Siddhyati is Vyatireka. This is a logical establishment. So, if you lack the qualifications, Vedanta becomes an academic time pass only. If preparation is not there, the study of Brahma Sutra will not transform a person, but one may be perhaps an informed person he can become. Therefore, what? Atha Shabdasya Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti Anantaram Ityartaha. So that is the meaning of that word. So this is Yukti Pramana, logic. Then we have many Shruti Pramanam also. For example, in Mundaka Upanishad, we have already seen this shloka. Pariksha lokan karmachitan brahmano nirvedamayat. Nasya kritakritena tad vijnanatam sa gurumyeva abhigachet samitpanihi shrotriyam brahmanishtam. Which means what? One should go through life and clearly know what is temporary and what is permanent through pariksha lokan. Learning from the kicks, so many dents people get in life. Through this, it says one should have nitya, anitya, vastu vivekaha. And nirvedamaya, one should get disgusted with anitya vastu, having suffered enough. And this is the sour, the grapes are sour. Nirvedam, dispassion, vairagyam. So one will be so tired of the world, tad vijnanartham sa gurumeva vikachete. One should go to a guru, seeking the permanent. So in Viveka Chudamani, Acharya says again, Durvara samsara davagnitaptam doduyamanam duradrishtavaataihim Bhitam prapannam paripahi mrityohom sharanyamanyadhyataham na jane. I am tired of samsara, and therefore give me moksha or a nitya vastu, which indicates mumukshutva. One should be so much with a craving desire to get moksha. Thus, the Mundaka Upanishad mantra shows the requirement of viveka, vairagyam, and mumukshutva. And again, we have to refer to Kathopanishad, which we have seen also, which presents the same idea much more concretely through whom? Through Nachiketas, who comes to gain Brahma Vidya, but Yamadharmaraja gives all Ihaloka Palam, Paraloka Palam, all those sukham he gives, blank check. He gives him a blank check. Ye ye kamaha dullabha matyaloke sarvan kamams chandaha prartayasva. Whatever you ask, I will give you a blank check, fill it up. Nachiketan has to choose between Dharmartha Kama and Moksha. Choose any one of them. Either Dharmartha Kama or Moksha. Shreyascha preyascha manushya metaha tau samparitya vivinakti dhiraha. Shreyo hi dhiro bhi preyaso vrinite preyo mando yogakshemad vrinite. Seek Shreyas or preyas and between any one of them. What do you want? And Nachiketas, what does he do? Sattvam priyan priyarupamscha kaman abidhyayan Nachiketaha atyasrakshihi naitam shrinkam vittamayim avaptaha yasyam ajjantim bahavo manushyaha. O Nachiketas, you threw them all far away at the age of 9, not out of childishness, but out of abidhyayan, thinking very well. You chose the correct one. So the idea is what? If I am to get the benefit of Vedanta study, I should choose moksha and throw Dharmartha Kama away. Like Acharya says in Aparoksha Anubhuti. That's another beautiful grantha. I don't know whether we'll be able to see. So Kakavishtayam yethaiva. This, but I have used this example elsewhere. Kakavishtayam yethaiva. Vairagyam should be like that towards the droppings of a crow. When the crow droppings are there on somebody, we immediately wipe it out. And then we don't even claim, aha, what an achievement I did. I wiped out the crow dropping. The 14 lokas should become Kakavishta Samanam. Should be like Kakavishta. Tivra Vairagyam one should have. So through Nachiketa's story, we get Shreyas, Preyas, Viveka. Vairagyam towards Preyas, and mumukshutvam also we gain. All these are clearly presented. Therefore, the necessity of viveka, vairagya, they are all given in the Shruti also. Therefore, yukti pramanam and Shruti pramanam both are there. Of course, in these mantras, we get viveka, vairagya, and mumukshutvam. Actually, I mentioned this during our Brihadaranyaka discussion, but again, I will mention it here. So, viveka, vairagya, and mumukshutvam are mentioned in those mantras which we just read. But what about the Samadhi Shatka Sampatti? In Brihadaranyaka, there is a famous mantra. There, Samadhi Shatka Sampatti is very clearly given. Shanto, Dhanta, Uparatasti, Tikshuhum, Shraddha Vitto, Bhutvam, Atman Yevam, Atmanam Pashyet. Here also one doubt might come. I mentioned it at that time. Only 5 are given here. Shama, Dhamma, Uparama, Titiksha, and Shraddha. And in Samadhi Shatka Sampatti, you got the 6th factor, which is called Samadhanam. For that, we say, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad itself has 2 versions. One is Kanva Shaka, one Shaka is Kanva Shaka, another is called Madhyandina Shaka. In one Shaka, Shraddha is mentioned, and in the other, Samahito Bhutva is said. Therefore, Samadhanam is also mentioned through Samahito Bhutva. So if you join both are from the same Upanishad, but different shakas. If you join them together, you get Samadhi Shatka Sampatti. Thus, through Yukti and Shruti Pramana, we prove that Atha is equal to Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannam Anantaram. And it is not over yet. Acharya enters into another big topic also. That is condemnation of other views. Another philosopher gives another meaning for Atha Shabda. He says, Purva Mimamsa should be the meaning. There he says, he doesn't take what Acharya says as Sadhana Chatushtaya Anantara. He says Purva Mimamsa should be the meaning for that. Atha. He accepts Anantara. Instead of saying Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti Anantaram, after gaining Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti, he says Purva Mimamsa Anantaram after studying Purva Mimamsa. And Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, actually Brahma Sutra should be studied after studying Purva Mimamsa. That is his claim. And Shankaracharya very elaborately refutes his commentary. And this is going to be the next topic. Purva Mimamsa is the analysis of the first portion. That is the Vedas, Karma Kanda and Upasana Kanda of Vedas. This we already know. And Brahma Sutra is Uttara Mimamsa, analysis of the later portion, final portion, that is Brahman or Jnana. Therefore, Atha should refer to Purva Mimamsa only according to them. They have logical support also for that. Purva Mimamsa, they means Purva Mimamsakas. Purva Mimamsa deals with karma and upasana, which is the qualification for getting jnana. Therefore, Atha, according to them, Purva Mimamsa Anantaram, Uttara Mimamsa. After going through Purva Mimamsa Sastram, one has to go to Uttara Mimamsa, is that claim, not after Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti. This is the krama, this is the procedure. Else it is akrama, without the proper procedure. It's not in order. So Purva Mimamsa Sutras are written by whom? By Jaimini Maharishi. And it has got 12 chapters. And Shankaracharya gives both Yukti and the Shruti support to refute the Purva Mimamsaka's views. And he gives 4 reasons to refute them. After Purva Mimamsa alone, one should come to Uttara Mimamsa. First is lack of consistency. Suppose Atha is translated as the study after Purva Mimamsa, then there will be 2 problems. One may study Purva Mimamsa thoroughly, but the issue is what? Even after study of Purva Mimamsa, one may not have Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti. One is a scholar in Purva Mimamsa only, yet one may not have the qualification to take up Brahma Vidya or Brahma Sutra. Therefore, the chances are unqualified person will not understand Jnana Kanda. One need not develop Vairagyam in Purva Mimamsa. One may be interested in Swarga Loka because many of those rituals are geared towards higher lokas. And various Ihaloka and Paraloka Palams. In this Janma, I want to get a lot of benefits. In the next Janma also, I want to get Punya Lokas. So ritualists have no interest in Vedanta and they perform more and more rituals only. If such a person without Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti enters Vedanta Vichara, he may not find benefit from that at all. And the second problem is there are some rare cases of people born with Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti because of Purva Janma Sadhana. They do not require Purva Mimamsa at all now. Rituals are meant for sadhana because Chittasya Shuddhaye Karma. That's what Acharya said in Vivek Chodamani. They are meant for Sadhana Chatushtaya Sarani Chitta Shuddhi. Therefore, why should they waste time in rituals if they already have it? So Shankaracharya's statement, after Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti, after acquiring the qualification either in the previous birth or in this birth, Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti becomes compulsory for all. And while Purva Mimamsaka says acquiring Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti is not compulsory for all, for the unprepared people, Purva Mimamsa is compulsory, and for a prepared mind, it is not. So one cannot say it is universally true. That is Acharya's claim. And Acharya gives some more reasons. To understand the 3 reasons, one should know the background while writing the commentary. When this philosopher says one should come to Vedanta after studying Purva Mimamsa, he has a particular philosophy in mind prevalent in Acharya's time. That is, mere knowledge cannot give liberation. That is the commentary, that is the view of some of these commentators. We even mentioned the name of one person at that time during our discussion in Brihadaranyaka. So that's an interesting discussion. We will see that in the next class, that is tomorrow. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Yo Vedadau Swara Prokto Vedante Cha Pratishtitaha तस्य प्रकृतिलीनस्य यः परः स महेश्वरः। श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु।